Hi, I'm Heather Ratych. I'm a registered social worker and psychotherapist working in private practice offering therapy to women. I specialize in perinatal mental health, where I support women through the pregnancy and postpartum journey and beyond. I'm a certified clinical hypnotherapist and trained in many psychotherapeutic approaches, including cognitive behavioral therapy, or otherwise known as CBT. It was my experience of becoming a parent that led me to specialize in supporting mothers in both their adjustment to parenthood and in navigating all of the complexities that life has to offer us. Many women today feel pressure and demands from many different areas. We're constantly trying to keep up with all the things. This can be very overwhelming, and many mamas feel isolated, exhausted, and alone. The desire to do everything perfectly all at once, the constant worry about how you're doing out things, work, your relationships as a mother, as a friend, the feelings of not doing or being enough, the comparison between how you feel about what you're doing in life compared to others and what they're doing, trying to keep up to an image presented on social media, whether or not how you're feeling is quote unquote normal. Society is sending a message that not only should women do it all, but they should do it all at once and perfectly. The increased prevalence is likely due to many factors, but we can't minimize the impact of society on our mental health. The expectations placed on women, the high level of responsibilities, the expectations and therefore differences in how we parent and how our mothers and grandmothers parented, the lack of support or a parenting village. Many of us are parenting in isolation with the large influence of social media and a false idea that the perfect mother exists. Approximately 1 in 5 women experience a perinatal mood disorder postpartum, and up to 1 in 3 women will experience a mood disorder throughout their lifetime. These numbers are astronomical, and they're probably also very likely, an underestimation. Although most people are familiar with depression, anxiety is by far the most common issue that I see in my practice. Mood disorders can bring on feelings of isolation, shame, and guilt, and are not usually talked about at play dates, work, or the hockey rink. So women are feeling more alone than ever, or at times like how they're feeling is normal and that they need to just persevere because this is what women do. The symptoms of depression and anxiety look different for each person, and your experience will be unique to you. The most commonly known or recognized symptoms are being very emotional or weepy and unable to get out of bed. While these are good indicators of a possible mood disorder, they are far from the most common. There are a number of possible symptoms that are commonly associated with a mood disorder, such as depression or anxiety. For women, these include, but are definitely not limited to, feeling depressed or anxious and unable to cope with the demands that you're facing, feeling hopeless and disengaged, wishing you could just run away and escape from your current situation, feeling guilty, worthless, or bad about yourself, having thoughts of harming yourself or someone else, feeling unable to enjoy your life, or feeling as though your changing moods are having an effect on your family, feeling a lack of interest towards your baby or your children, feeling anxious or panicky, feeling more irritable or angry than usual. People often describe this as having some kind of rage that's building up within them. Feeling as if you're out of control or going crazy, feeling like you should never have become a mother. This is a common one that's often not discussed because it carries a lot of shame often and guilt. Having difficulty eating or having sleeping habits that have changed, which should be unrelated to having a baby, those we expect. But if your sleeping habits have changed and they're not influenced by the night waking of others, then that's definitely a concern. Feeling intense feelings of fear or rage. Having mood swings that are pretty drastic. The physical symptoms such as feeling a racing heart, heart palpitations, hyperventilation, feeling numbness in your hands or your feet, overwhelm or a feeling of racing all the time and not really getting anywhere, sadness or guilt, losing interest in things that you once enjoyed, having a hard time making decisions, or excessive worry about your health or your children's health or their future or your future. And overall, just not feeling like yourself. This is probably the most commonly described indicator of women knowing that their mental health is not at its prime. It's just an overall feeling of not being yourself. If you're postpartum, a symptom of a possible mood disorder is that period known as the baby blues, lasting for more than 5 to 7 days. The first 5 to 7 days, really common to feel a little bit down, a bit more weepy, some of these other symptoms that have been described. But if that period of time goes beyond a week or so, a really good indicator that you might need to reach out for some support. So as you can see, anxiety and depression don't always look like they think that we do. Sometimes they look like complete and utter overwhelm, or constantly trying to be busy in order to escape feeling what you're experiencing. There are many risk factors for mood disorders in women. One big one is just being a mother. Others are a lack of support or help from others, lack of community, sleep deprivation, no respite, perfectionism, projection, or wanting to fulfill all of your children's needs all the time and feeling overly concerned with your child's future. It's really important to note that if you have experienced a mood disorder in the past, you are more at risk of experiencing a mood disorder during pregnancy or the postpartum period. This does not mean that you will definitely have this experience. It just means that there's a higher correlation. There are some helpful ways to safeguard or improve your mental health. These are so important for all of us, regardless of what stage of life you're in. It's particularly important for us to safeguard mental health when we're going through major life transitions, such as after loss, during the postpartum period, after experiencing a traumatic event, and when we have a lot on our plates. So essentially at any point in time for mothers. These safeguards include maintaining a healthy diet that's low in caffeine. Yes, that extra cup of coffee can give you an energy burst, but it can be an extra stress on a body that's already under extreme amounts of pressure. Exercising every day to the extent that you are able. This is going to vary depending on the individual, but can be anything from yoga, stretching, or a walk to a long run or a HIIT workout. Listen to your body and what she needs. Rest and relax. This includes both your body and spirit. We cannot improve our mental health if we are not getting adequate rest. We know that even with numerous interventions, if a woman is not getting adequate rest, her emotional state will not be optimal. Begin or commit to a mindfulness practice. There are many ways to learn about and practice this, but as a basic starting point, download an app such as the Calm app or Insight Timer and spend a few minutes going through a progressive muscle relaxation. Your body, brain, nervous system need a timeout to reset a few times a day. So use this as a sort of general guide to get familiar with mindfulness and how that can be beneficial to you. Conserve your energy when needed by cutting back on tasks or chores. And in alignment with this, call in your support system to assist with household tasks and childcare, or access other resources if financially possible, such as a cleaning service, babysitter, or a postpartum doula. Communicate with those you trust or with a professional. Tell people what's going on and ask for help. Stay connected to and open with your healthcare professional. Request thorough blood work if your mental health suddenly dips. There could be something medical going on that people aren't picking up on. Increase your participation in the activities you enjoy, even when you feel like withdrawing. Even simple activities such as going for a walk, taking a hot bath, meeting a friend for tea, or my personal favorite, grabbing a hot drink and browsing through the shelves at Indigo or Winners. Find ways to build your informal support system. Other women, other mothers, anyone in a similar life phase. This is the key to protecting your mental health. We need community and we thrive in this. Without appropriate intervention, poor mental health can have long-term and adverse implications for mothers, children, and the entire family. But early intervention can protect the well-being of everyone. We know that therapy, cognitive behavioral therapy in particular, is as effective, if not more effective, than the use of medication for treating anxiety and depression. There are so many ways you can access support. Individual in-person counseling, group therapy, phone or video conferencing sessions, whatever is going to work best for you and will be most convenient for you. But a stigma around therapy or addressing mental health still persists, and many women tell me they don't know what to expect from the therapeutic process. Women see me for all different reasons: work stress, work-life balance, sleep schedules, anxiety around specific issues such as SIDS or their children's health conditions, not feeling themselves, feeling like they want to take their own lives, intrusive or recurring thoughts, navigating relationships with their partners, navigating relationships with their in-laws, overwhelm, past trauma, feelings of not keeping up, you name it. Nothing is off the table. Women who come to therapy are not always seeking long-term support. They're in my office because they need to feel better. So my first goal is to work with them to reduce their symptoms so they can start to manage and feel better right from the start. Maternal mental health needs to be more openly discussed. Reach out to your friends, family, and support network and ask for what you need. Please don't suffer alone. You're not alone, you're not to blame, and with help you will get better. If you have any questions about perinatal mental disorders, mood disorders, or are wondering if talk therapy might be helpful for you, please always feel free to reach out. Thanks so much for listening.